the Guardians traded for Patrick Bailey, Giants. They give up Matt Tugboat Wilkinson. We've talked about him before. A guy that's
Yes.
probably long reliever, fourth, fifth
Yeah.
starter type.
It's fringy. Yeah.
And the 28th pick that they got competitive balance wise. When you go and we've alluded to it, Patrick Bailey has not hit at the major league level. He
Nope.
is considered an elite defensive catcher, one of the best in baseball. So now you have Hedges and Bailey. Does that tell you organizationally the Guardians value that probably more than anybody, being defensive catchers?
Yes, and I think also it is a sort of recognition. Well, we don't really have anybody right now who's going to produce offensively behind the plate. Bo Naylor's disappointed, uh, and so maybe we just lean into defense. We have some young pitchers, not just in the majors, but coming up through the minors, coming towards the majors quickly. Do we want a guy like Patrick Bailey working with them? I don't love the deal, honestly. I mean, mostly my reaction to the deal was, because what they sent back was, I like Tugboat as a fan, but he is not much of a prospect. And I actually think the most valuable and interesting part of the deal is probably the draft pick, which if I were Cleveland, I was not interested in giving up the draft pick, both for the ability to get another player and for the extra money that gives you to your bonus pool. And I think I know the Giants were ecstatic, especially given how this draft is shaking out. I think that pick might be more valuable than a typical 28th pick would be. As I alluded to in the previous answer, is this about also having Bailey work with Engel and/or any other catchers in the system as sort of effectively a player coach, because he can't hit, and he hits so poorly that he is negating a lot of the value that he provides with all of his defense. Also, I would point out, and I think serious fans are aware of this, Bailey is an elite framing catcher, and the importance of that is declining. It is not gone. I look forward to the day when it's gone entirely, but it is declining with the rise of the challenge system. So you can still steal some strikes, but I think that has put a dent in Bailey's value in particular. So it was such a huge part of how he remained productive and was the Giants' everyday catcher for so many years.
So the Guardians have said they're sending Bo Naylor to Arizona before they send him to AAA. To me, that says we're rebuilding Bo Naylor's swing.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what I think they're doing. White Sox did this a year ago with Colson Montgomery, a former first round pick who started out in 2025. He went to AAA, went back to AAA, and was striking out 50% of the time. And it was just sort of you need a reset. His swing wasn't working, but I think also at that point he was mentally just needed a break. They sent him to Arizona. They rebuilt the swing and sort of turned him into this high strikeout, uh, power hitter over hit, right? There's going to be power. It's not going to be a lot of batting average. And it's sort of worked to make Montgomery viable. He's got 10 home runs already this season. I'd be surprised if he didn't end up with 25 to 30 at this point, even though he's striking out 30% of the time. So it may be that in the case of Naylor, it might be a better mental reset. It is, I think, a little bit more likely we're going to try to do some things mechanically to change your style, your type of production. At this point, Naylor is not a kid, right? This is no longer like a prospect where we're just trying to develop you in the first case. What you were doing is not working, so we need to try something entirely different. And, I say this as somebody who was generally a Naylor fan when they drafted him, much of the time that he was in the minors. He's really athletic. He's got bat speed. I'm surprised he has struggled as much as he has, but it's also enough of a sample size to say it's not working and you've got to try a different approach.